As USS Gerald R pushes east toward the Middle East, Khamenei has publicly warned Trump that Iran possesses a secret ship-sinking weapon meant to neutralize U.S. warships. Iranian state TV has aired an AI-generated clip of USS Abraham Lincoln ripped apart and cleaved in two at sea, turning an algorithmic fantasy into a pointed threat. In the broadcast, Khamenei boasts that a weapon which can send a warship to the bottom is more dangerous than the warship itself, a chilling line clearly meant for U.S. planners. With one carrier already in the Arabian Sea and another entering the Med, Tehran's message is blunt. In its AI killshot world, neither Lincoln nor Ford is truly safe. As Ford nears Haifa, US KC-135 tankers and C-17s quietly flood Israel, fueling speculation that Washington is building the reach it needs for real strike options. And with Geneva talks set for February 26, is Tehran cranking up pressure on Trump, mixing doomsday carrier threats with diplomatic overtures to force his hand? As USS Gerald R sails east into a tightening ring of tensions, Khamenei is now flaunting talk of a ship-sinking secret weapon aimed squarely at Trump's carrier armada. Iranian state TV has reportedly broadcast an AI-generated simulation showing USS Abraham Lincoln being sunk at sea in a stylized missile barrage. In the clip, incoming missiles and chained explosions rip across the deck and hull, sending the giant carrier spiraling beneath the waves in seconds. At one dramatic moment, the virtual Lincoln appears cleaved in two, its flight deck and hull torn apart by successive detonations. Analysts say Khamenei used this broadcast to hammer home a message that American carriers are not untouchable symbols of power. More dangerous than that warship is the weapon that can send that warship to the bottom of the sea, Khamenei declared. Iranian outlets are framing the message as a direct warning to both USS Abraham Lincoln and USS Gerald R. now bracketing Iran from two directions. USS Abraham Lincoln is already on station in the Arabian Sea, while Ford closes in from the Mediterranean side, completing a pincer of U.S. carrier power. Together, the two carrier strike groups anchor what analysts call the largest U.S. military buildup in West Asia since the 2003 invasion of Iraq. Khamenei's threats land just as USS Gerald R. has entered the Mediterranean and is charting a course that brings it closer to Israel and Lebanon. The $13 billion supercarrier was recently spotted near the Strait of Gibraltar and then at Crete Suda Bay, marking a steady move east. Reports now suggest Ford could soon be off Haifa, just as US KC-135 tankers and C-17 cargo planes were photographed at Israel's Ben Gurion airport. At least two of those refuelers are believed to have flown in from Zaludid base in Qatar, according to open-source flight tracking cited in local reports. Military analysts read the tanker's presence as preparation for extended U.S. strike operations, giving American jets the legs to range deeper over Iran if ordered. Interestingly, this comes as a fresh report claims the U.S. may not be able to sustain a long, high-intensity war with Iran even with such assets in place. According to that assessment, the U.S. could only launch intensive strikes for around 4 to 5 days before being forced to dial back the tempo. Beyond that initial burst, Israeli intelligence expects the US to be limited to lower-intensity weekly raids rather than a sustained air blitz. Even with Ford in theater, the Financial Times reports any follow-on raids would be far less intense than the opening salvos. The AI strike video also lands amid Trump's latest rhetorical broadside against Iran during his State of the Union address. On February 24, Trump reiterated that he will never allow Iran to obtain a nuclear weapon, again tying diplomacy to an explicit military threat.
For decades, it had been the policy of the United States never to allow Iran to obtain a nuclear weapon. Many decades. Since they seized control of that proud nation 47 years ago, the regime and its murderous proxies have spread nothing but terrorism and death and hate. They've killed and maimed thousands of American service members and hundreds of thousands and even millions of people with what's called roadside bombs. They were the kings of the roadside bomb. And we took out Soleimani. I did that during my first term. Had a huge impact. He was the father of the roadside bomb. And just over the last couple of months with the protests, they've killed at least, it looks like 32,000 protesters, 32,000 protesters in their own country. They shot them and hung them. We stopped them from hanging a lot of them with the threat of serious violence. But this is some terrible people. They've already developed missiles that can threaten Europe and our bases overseas, and they're working to build missiles that will soon reach the United States of America. After Midnight Hammer, they were warned to make no future attempts to rebuild their weapons program, and in particular, nuclear weapons. Yet they continue. They're starting it all over. We wiped it out, and they want to start all over again, and are at this moment again pursuing their sinister ambitions. We are in negotiations with them. They want to make a deal, but we haven't heard those secret words. We will never have a nuclear weapon. My preference is to solve this problem through diplomacy. But one thing is certain, I will never allow the world's #1 sponsor of terror, which they are by far, to have a nuclear weapon. Can't let that happen.
Yet, in parallel, Iran's foreign minister has insisted a nuclear deal is within reach so long as diplomacy is given real priority over saber-rattling. Arachi posted on X that Iran will under no circumstances ever develop a nuclear weapon, trying to undercut Trump's central justification for force. Arachi said, and I quote, "Pillared on the understandings forged in the previous round, Iran will resume talks with the US in Geneva with a determination to achieve a fair and equitable deal in the shortest possible time. Our fundamental convictions are crystal clear. Iran will under no circumstances ever develop a nuclear weapon. Neither will we Iranians ever forego our right to harness the dividends of peaceful nuclear technology for our people. We have a historic opportunity to strike an unprecedented agreement that addresses mutual concerns and achieves mutual interests. A deal is within reach, but only if diplomacy is given priority. We have proven that we will stop at nothing to guard our sovereignty with courage. We bring the same courage to the negotiating table, where we will pursue a peaceful resolution to any differences." Unquote. The third round of US-Iran talks is set for Geneva on February 26, unfolding under the heavy shadow of carrier deployments, missile drills, and dueling threats.